It wasn't Oklahoma's best, but it was still good enough to come away with 2 wins on a Monday afternoon. Sooners are 14-0 on the year. Not their best effort, far from it, but it wasn't all bad. There was certainly some good throughout the day. We'll highlight some individual players, some plays that I kind of go back to that were big on this Monday as OU beats Bowling Green 8-5 in extra innings, 9-1 over Abilene Christian. Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. This is what we do here. We talk a little Sooner softball. Drop your questions, comments, concerns, whatever you got in the chat as well. I see a couple of chats in there. And we'll certainly get to as many as we can tonight. But appreciate you guys joining me on a Monday night. And let's just kind of get to it. You know, I was fortunate enough to go to game one today, and I want to talk a lot about that and share some videos that I got today because Love's Field's just fantastic. Not a bad day at Love's Field. But that felt like a sloppy day. Not just one game or the Bowling Green game. It just kind of felt like a sloppy game. And, you know, being there as the game kind of went on, Bowling Green, man, like they're loud in the dugout. They're celebrating every single strikeout, every base hit, everything that happened to them. You could tell. Like, that was Bowling Green's Super Bowl today. They could make their season beating Oklahoma today, and they came out with a ton of energy for an 11 a.m. start on Monday. Oklahoma, not so much. You know, you could just kind of tell that the energy from dugout to dugout was a little bit different, and that's why I think today is a big learning lesson and a teachable moment for Patty Gasso that I have no doubt that she's going to kind of show, you know, what this team has to do every single game. Like Bowling Green, I give them all the credit. They played really good today. As good as Bowling Green can play, and I'm not sitting here saying that I've watched every Bowling Green softball game, but I know where they were picked. I know what they've done this year. I know what their record is. That's probably as well as Bowling Green can play. And that's the lesson. The lesson for this team with so many young players and so much new is that's what you got to expect, and that's what you're going to get. You're far better than Bowling Green. There may not be one player on Bowling Green that can play at Oklahoma, and same thing for Abilene Christian. You have got to show up every single game. It doesn't matter if it's Friday under the lights. It doesn't matter if it's Sunday afternoon. It doesn't matter if it's Monday at 11 a.m. Whoever you play, wherever you play them under any circumstance, that team is going to bring their best. Bowling Green's not going to win a whole lot of games this year. That's probably the best game that they're going to play the entire year. But that's the challenge, and that's what you accept playing at Oklahoma is whoever we play, we're not going to get the same version of that team as everybody else. And OU got a much different version of Bowling Green today, and it took them a while to handle that. And, again, I think that that's a big teachable lesson is that Oklahoma, it's not easy to do, you know, especially when you're human, but you got to come out every single game, match the energy, take advantage of opportunities. And they just didn't, they didn't do that today. And in no way am I giving today an F or a D or anything like that. I mean, again, there were some good things that happened. Sid Sanders was awesome today. Cassidy Pickering, who would have predicted MVP of the week? This guy did, actually. I got to give myself props because I actually got one. And it's the final one this year that I'm probably going to get. But today is a learning lesson, okay? You've got to bring it. You cannot waste opportunities because every single team you play, non-conference, SEC, it does not matter. They're going to bring their best against you. They are. And I think is what we look at as probably our biggest complaint today. I thought pitching overall was fine. You know, Audrey Lowry didn't have her best outing. Kirsten Deal, certainly not what we've seen her past 3 appearances. Sam Landry's as good as it gets. Isabella Smith is awesome. But you guys probably want to talk about the hitting tonight because that's what I've been seeing in my social media mentions and even YouTube video comments as well. And the offense has got to be better. They left 9. They left 9 on base against Bowling Green. There just wasn't a whole lot of quality at bats, it felt like, throughout that game. Too many cheap outs, 1, 2, 3 innings. The offense has got to be better. Now, here's the thing, guys. We are 14 games in. I think that the offense is going to get better. In fact, even though it wasn't A-plus stuff this weekend, I could actually make an argument that the offense, as why the offense will continue to improve. You know what you're going to get from Ella Parker. best hitter in the game. She's had one of the best starts in all of college softball. Abby Dayton, I think, has had a nice start to the year, but you got the Cassidy Pickering, the version of her that we've been waiting on. Sid Sanders had a very good day today with the 7 RBIs, the grand slam. She's really hitting as well. I think that you're starting to see, slowly but surely, this entire lineup come to life. Now, it's got to be a lot more consistent. Like, I am in no way defending the offense that we saw for the majority of the first game today, but you are starting to slowly see, as teams pitch around Ella Parker and not give her opportunities, there are some hitters that are starting to pick it up. Tia Malloy got a couple of hits on Sunday. You had Nelly, who had a couple of doubles in game 2. So let's just be patient with this offense. Like, I think it's going to come around. Maybe we just got to be patient with a lineup that's really shuffling quite a bit. Like, Abby Dayton has been hitting leadoff, it seems like, for the past few games, and she's hitting in the 9-hole today. You had Agbayani leading off today. There's just a lot of change, and I think once this offense settles in, then I think that they're going to be fine. But I got a lot of opinions on today. I just want to make sure I get to as many of your comments as possible here. So let's go to Patty said it best. This team needs to learn how to bull their necks up and put their will on teams. And it's true. That's what I always mention the great teams of the past because we know what it looks like when OU's good enough to win a national championship. And that's what the great teams of the past did. Like, they got a team down, and they finished that thing off, man. You know, they didn't let it go to 7 innings. They ended that game in 5 innings. So once you got a team down, today's a great example. You got down 3-0 after the first inning. And then you get the grand slam by Sid Sanders, and I'm thinking to myself out there in the left field bleachers, like, all right, now we go. Now we take off here, and OU's about to dominate. And that's what the great teams of the past would do. They get a huge grand slam like that, a grand slam at Lowe's Field. You know, Bowling Green's thinking like, uh-oh, we're in for it now. And it ended up being a close softball game, and you trailed late into it. So, yeah, they got to bowl their necks up. They got to be, you know, when you got someone on the ropes, man, you gotta finish it. CJ, yeah, they definitely need another game, another gear to get into offensively. Right now, their pitching is the reason they're still undefeated, even with the shaky start today in both games. The pitching is the strength of this team right now. I just think it is. I really won't hear much of an argument up to this point. Like, I do think that the offense will get going. I think we got to be patient with that. And I'm going to offer the glass half full and the glass half empty take of both of these after we get through a few more comments. But I do think the pitching is the strength right now. I mean, Sam Landry, what she did today is going to go very under the radar. Like, what she's done the first few weeks of the season, you're going to be talking about the perfect game. You'll talk about her other starts. But I do just want to shine a light on how impressed I was today with Sam Landry because it wasn't OU's best, and that is contagious. You know, there are a lot of times where maybe you're kicking the ball around a little bit, you're not having good at-bats, just sloppy play can be contagious. And it wasn't contagious to Sam Landry because it wasn't looking good late in that game, guys. It really, I mean, Bowling Green had a chance, a team that was picked last in the MAC had a chance to beat you today. That would have been an awful, awful, embarrassing loss today. I mean, it would have. So to go in late in the game in relief, they had no chance to hit Sam Landry. I mean, she was in a game where all the pressure was in Oklahoma's dugout. She came in and was just nails, hitting spots, locating pitches. I mean, fastball, off speed. It was working today for Sam Landry. And that's not an easy spot to be in where all the pressure's on your side. Things haven't been going your way, but she came into those 2 innings and was absolute just clutch. I mean, I can't. Sam Landry is awesome, and it is a very, very good thing that they got Sam Landry this offseason. Her strikeout ratio to walk is 46-3. She's insane. I mean, your 1-2 duo right now with Isabella Smith, who has still a 0 ERA, and Sam Landry. That's an elite 1-2. So it ain't all bad right now, and I'm not saying that you guys are freaking out or panicking or anything like that. There's still a lot of good to this softball team. I'd rather learn a lesson after a win than learn a lesson after a loss, and that's what we got today. I think maybe there's some lessons learned after a win today, which isn't all that bad. Jeffrey, hats off to Bowling Green. They gave OU a run for the money. Overall, both games will serve well for OU's continued development. I think a close game, like today, doesn't have to be a bad thing moving forward. You know, like OU wasn't going to win or lose the national championship today. They weren't going to win or lose the SEC. They still have another weekend of non-conference before we get into SEC play. Like, this team's got time. And let's all go back and remember kind of what our thoughts were going into the year. And that's a very good point, Jeffrey. Again, hats off to Bowling Green. They're not a team with a great record, but they stepped up and they played well today, and I give them credit for that. But, guys, we knew that struggles were going to happen, especially early on in the season. There was too much new and too many young players for it just to be, you know, awesome from day one, and they never lose a game. Like, we knew that there were going to be issues at times, and there were, and that's okay. It is okay if they have days like that, if they learn from it and get better. And hopefully that's the case, and that's what kind of Jeffrey's saying is hopefully it will help out with development. Okay, CJ got a super chat here. I got to get to the super chat. Appreciate you, CJ. And I love our banter on Twitter now, not just in the YouTube comments, but in Twitter now. I appreciate the follow. I was at the game today going back and forth with CJ. I like him a lot. Thanks for all the work you put in with videos and insight on a daily basis, brother. Let's go. Yeah, it's work, but it's a labor of love. I love putting out videos. I love covering this program. All of it's a lot of fun. All of it's a lot of fun. Do you guys, by chance, want to see Cassidy Pickering's grand slam today? Or, excuse me, walk-off home run today from the left field bleachers? You do? Okay, here's what it looked like. I hope that made you guys feel like you were actually there today. How about that crowd? Not a sellout crowd, not at capacity, but Monday at 11 a.m. That's not a bad little crowd that was out there. And as much of a struggle as today was in that Bowling Green game, there's something about a walk-off home run that just makes you feel good. So it was good to see the walk-off by Cassidy Pickering. I thought, I predicted, I hoped that she'd start to get hot going into this weekend, and I think we got the Cassidy Pickering that we've been looking for, which is big because I thought she had a nice weekend. I thought Sid Sanders had a nice weekend, and that's important, not because there's more offensive options, but because those two hitters are almost always hitting behind Ella Parker. At least they have been. And you've got hitters like that behind Ella Parker. It makes the decision just a little bit more difficult to say, we'll just put Ella Parker on first base, or we'll just pitch around her. I think that could do a lot of good for Ella Parker if someone's in the circle saying, well, we could pitch away from her and we could put her on, but that just puts someone on base for Cassidy Pickering. That just puts someone on base for Sid Sanders. Sid Sanders had a grand slam today. So I think the more hitters that hit well directly behind Ella Parker is only going to help, again, who I think is the best hitter in college softball even more. Kimberly, great viewer, great commenter. Everyone's going to play OU hard. It's exactly right. Everyone is. It does not matter if this is a team full of young players and new faces. It's still Oklahoma. It's still Patty Gasso. It's still the dynasty. It doesn't matter. They could have an entirely new team from last year. Everybody wants to beat Oklahoma. You're gonna get teams best in how you handle it. And I'll say this. For the 2025 Oklahoma Sooners, they've handled adversity well. They found adversity, unexpected adversity today. I didn't think either game was going to be close, but adversity has found them, and they've handled it every single time. That's their third extra inning win in 14 games. They played 3 extra inning games already, and they've won all of those. And a lot of those are via home run too, right? You had Isabella Emmerling with the tank against San Diego State. You had Cassidy Pickering today with the walk-off. So a lot of times it's been a home run. Adversity has found them, and they've overcame it. So just kind of put that in the back of your mind as well as when things aren't looking too good at times, they always, whatever you say about the offense, they do come away and find a way to come up with the big hit. Bishop Frank, I love Bishop Frank's awesome. Sooners never flinch. They don't. It's right, Frank. They don't flinch when times get tough. Didn't do it again today. Didn't do it again today for sure. Me and you both, Kimberly. I love me some Bishop Frank. Okay, let's see. Let's go down the list here. Dayton has impressed me. She's been the most consistent of anyone on the team so far. She's awesome to watch on offense and defense. Yeah, she's a spark play. I think that she's mostly going to hit in the leadoff role this year. Just trying to put Agbayani there to see what you got, but I think Dayton is, for the most part, going to be your leadoff hitter game in, game out. I like teams based on balls coupled with their speed, aggression, and base running smarts, like their overall smarts for so many newbies. Tom, I'm actually going to hit on some individual plays that I like today. That isn't the Cassidy Pickering grand slam or any home run, like more of the hustle and defense plays. And I'm keeping notes today on the old trusty iPhone notes. I have down great base running. Maybe some of you guys will remember these individual plays. If not, just picture them in your mind. There's a situation where Agbayani is at the plate and Abby Dayton is at second. And there's 3 balls in the counts. Abby Dayton steals third on ball 4, and then there's nobody at second. I think maybe they threw it into left field. The point is that there was a play where it was ball 4 to Agbayani. Dayton steals third, but then no one's covering second base after the throws that are happening, and Agbayani takes second base. So you go from, in one pitch, a runner at second to runners at second and third. And that really struck me as, okay, that's good base running. That's good hustle. That's good awareness. That's what you want, because that's an inning changer. When you go from a runner at second to runners at second and third all of a sudden, and you have the meat of the order coming up after that, and I want to say, is that the same inning where Sid Sanders hit the grand slam? That may have been the same inning. I think maybe Parker ended up walking after that, and Sid Sanders hit the grand slam. But it just stuff like that, the hustle plays that I still think that this team is doing for the most part, which I think you really got to like. I also like Sid Sanders defensively. Everyone wants to talk about her bat, but I think defensively she's been good. She had a play in the first game today where it was 1 out, hard hit ball right at her. She goes home. Emerling goes from home to first, and they get a double play. So defensively, they maybe made some mistakes today at times, but I think there's some really good individual plays to really harp on and to really bring up that were good today. And those are just a couple that come to mind. AW says, I was glad to see Sanders hit better. Her fielding is pretty good. Yeah, great minds think alike there, AW. Just right there. Jack says, I'm happy when we have games like Bowling Green today. We learn so much more from these types of games than we do from all the run rule games. Jack, that is a glass half full take that I don't hate. Again, like, this is softball. It is a game of failure, just like baseball is. You're not always going to have your best. And would we feel better today if it was a 14-0 run rule in 5 innings? I mean, maybe, but it's all about growth. I mean, it's about today, but not really. It's all about the level of this team and where they're at when it's time to play in the postseason. It's time to play for a national championship. So, and it's a glass half full take. Could a day like today be more beneficial, like Jack is saying, than, just run one? I hope so. I hope this team learns some valuable lessons today. I hope they come out next weekend, next Friday night against Marshall and KU and everyone else, and really show up and play well. But that's the thing. Like, lessons can be learned. Teams can be better. Maybe today, in a weird, wacky way, was an okay day for this team, and they're going to learn and be better moving forward. Landry, by far, our best pitcher right now. I'm not going to argue with that, though I think Isabella Smith is really good. It almost seems like batters panic against Landry, the way she gets them to swing at air. Batter after batter after batter is incredible. And they know the strikeout numbers. Like, the velocity that she has, but then the off-speed, you just never – that's a good way to put it, Hobby Sooner. You use the word panic. I'll use the word uncomfortable. No one just looks comfortable at the plate against Sam Landry because it's, well, she can blow a pitch by me, or she can pull the string on an off speed, and I've got no chance to hit that. So it just looks like she's always in total command. She's got all confidence, and she's not an overly, like throwing the glove down. I mean, she celebrates a little bit, but for the most part, she just seems calm, cool, collected, in command. Like, that is her game. She's in command. She's hitting the strike zone. She's great. She's great. Jason, I'm going to guess that you're referencing the Cassidy Pickering walk off. It was pretty sweet. Like that there was a good crowd. Yeah, it was a good crowd, Teresa. I was a Monday at 11 a.m. It wasn't a sold out crowd. There were tickets available. Shout out to my buddy Terry Price, by the way, OU Home Run Tracker, for giving me some tickets today. But today was like another sign of how popular the program is, how far it's come, all that. For that, I mean, still that crowd and how into it they were, it's cool. I love Field. And I went there today and shot a lot of content. I'm going to try to put together a video of, hey, kind of here's an afternoon at Loves Field. Here's all the different sight lines. Here's all the amenities thing. I'm trying to put together a video like that. And I'm just in amazement walking around that place. I honestly, I don't think they could have done a better job with that park. How spacious it is to walk around, like the area in right field with all the grass and the food truck. They got it right with Loves Field. It's really, really cool. And if you haven't been out before, I would urge you to find a way out. I mean, it's worth it. And I know it can be a little expensive at times to get to a softball game, but that experience is worth it. It's really, really cool. Really cool. What up, Douglas? Another great commenter on the videos as well. Malloy, Garcia, and Emmerling improved. Sid Sanders was the catalyst for a lethargic OU. There's going to be improvement. Hope Agbayani leads off and Dayton bats second. Yeah, before the year, I thought that my preseason lineup was Agbayani leading off, or maybe it's Dayton leading off, Agbayani at second, and then Ella Parker hitting third. They're going to come around and they're going to hit. I like that the stolen bases that you got today, by the way, especially in the first game, felt like there was a lot more. You're speaking about Agbayani there. I believe she had 2 stolen bases in that first game, which was good to see. So just wanted to see this team continue to be aggressive. CJ, Tyler, do you think Patty tinkered the lineup in these games today simply because of grade of teams we played, or you think she's still trying to find her best line? I think she's going to continue to shift it. And I wrote this down during the game, or after yesterday, hey, are we starting to settle in to maybe more of a everyday lineup? And then Dayton hits 9th and Agbayani leads off today. So I think that she's going to tinker with it. And we may be in the South Carolina series, and I don't think that we're going to see massive changes or anything. But you still may see tinkering as we move forward here. What Sid did today was what senior leadership looks like. When the team isn't quite there, the senior leader pulls the team through. That's a great point. That's so true. And Sid's not a rah-rah type of player, and I think Patty even said as much after the game today, but a lot of times it's lead by example, lead by action. You don't have to be a rah-rah type of person to be a leader or even a great leader. Sometimes hitting a grand slam in the second inning and just kind of the confidence that you exude, that's contagious, right? If your senior first baseman hitting in the middle of the order is exuding confidence, that kind of rubs off on everyone else as well. So that's a very good point, Song. Very good point. Do you guys want to see Sid Sanders' grand slam today in the second inning? You do? Okay, check this out. Out in Gasso Gardens today, Sid Sanders, no doubter. And that was a no doubter. Cassidy Pickering's home run was a no doubter. Very, very fun. SEC Plus needs to fix their broadcast. Chris Plank's audio was occasionally going in and out of their games today. Sometimes the camera angle, too, is I think there's a fly ball on the left side there and the camera doesn't shift. But you know what? I'm actually not going to complain too much because I'm just glad we get to watch the games and we don't have to watch on Flow and there's like an option for every game. So I'm not going to complain too much. It could be better, and it will get better when it gets into some of these more nationally televised games. But at least they're on. At least they're on. Will says, if I lived closer, I would have come today. Got to make it out. SEC, man. That South Carolina series is going to be fun. Tennessee is going to be jumping in there. Texas is going to be insane. It's great. So what does Patty say to the team? It's a good question, David. And I was just going to bring up what she said after the game. You know, I was very curious in what Patty's tone was going to be, what her attitude was after the game. And she didn't seem super disappointed. You know, she didn't seem super upset. If anything, I think she clearly wants it to be better and not to run into the offensive situations that they ran into, especially in that first game. But it was more of kind of, I get it. Like she mentioned something today that I haven't really thought about. And it was, you know, a lot of these players, she thinks that maybe they were a little bit tight, or if not tight, just not free, not playing free because of the crowd. And that struck me a little bit because it's, well, you don't think about it that way for the home team. You don't think that, well, how is that not an overwhelming positive? The crowd that's there, the crowd that was even there today, they were loud, they were engaged in the game. How could a team play tight? A lot of these players haven't played in anything like this. This was their first weekend at Love's Field. They weren't playing in environments like this on the road. Like, this is the crown jewel in all of college softball. And it gets loud there today. I was kind of standing around the home plate area when Sid Sanders had the double play from first back to home, and it got loud in there. Like echoes in there or whatever. Like it gets really loud in there, and a lot of these players, be it transfer portal players or new players, haven't really experienced that. And Patty even mentioned that she's got to remember at times that I've been doing this forever, so it didn't really faze me. But there are times where an Audrey Lowry hasn't started a game in an environment like that, and maybe she was a little bit nervous today. So I didn't think about it that way. But the more that you think about it, it certainly makes sense. So what does she say to the team was really your original question. I think that she's just harping on, look, everyone's going to bring their best. It doesn't matter if they're not projected to have a good season or they haven't had a good season. You've got to figure out a way to bring energy, even when you're tired, when it's not easy, because there's a lot of times it's not easy. You know, it was 11 a.m. on a Monday, all of that. But you always got to bring it. It doesn't matter if you're tired. It doesn't matter. You've always got to bring it, and you've got to take advantage of situations when you have them. So I would guess that would be it more than anything. Like, let's have a good week of practice. Let's make sure that we make adjustments at the plate throughout. I think a lot of it would be offensive focus, but maybe more than anything, it's just kind of the mindset of we've got to bring it every single game, every single inning, every single pitch would be my guess. Commercial right when you played the home run, says Will. Okay, I'll play that again in a few minutes. Sorry about that. Let's see. Hobby says that was definitely fair. The outfielder bobbled. Hey, I had that video as well. I was right there. Right there. That was a fair ball. I don't know what you guys thought watching it on TV. It looks like Hobby Sooner thinks that was it was a fair ball. that was a fair ball. And I'm a little bit biased here. And I had an angle. I didn't have every angle, but from the angle that I had, boy, that sure looked like that was a fair ball. Keep dropping your comments in here. Again, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. As I get to the half full, half empty takes, kind of from today's game, especially that first game. Oh, all of you are saying fair ball. All right, and then I'm not crazy. I mean, I may be crazy, but at least I got that one right. Let's start with the glass half empty take because I'd like to leave on a little bit of a happy note here. The half empty take from today, glass half empty take, is this. That ain't good enough. You almost lost to a team that was picked to finish last in a conference like the MAC. And then you came out and you were down 1-0 to Abilene Christian. That ain't good enough because that product right there is going to get you beat and it's going to get you embarrassed in the SEC. That's kind of the glass half empty take, or whatever you want to call it. But that's a take that some might have. Like, that was bad, that was terrible, this offense isn't any good, they haven't been any good, and they're going to have some real struggles moving forward. Okay, and I will agree that product that we saw today, it's not going to win the SEC. It's not going to win the national championship. I think we can all agree that the product that we saw today, especially offensively, has to be a lot better. The glass half full take is this. Struggles happen. It's softball. It's a game of failure. It's not going to be great every single game. Last year's team that won the national championship, swept Texas in the championship series, capped off an unprecedented four-peat that has never been done before and will probably never be done ever again. Also had their struggles last year. And they had their struggles much later in the season than what Oklahoma's in right now. Oklahoma got blasted by BYU last year. They lost their last regular season series against Oklahoma State. I mean, that team last year certainly had its issues, and honestly, a lot of the things that we're saying about this offense, we were saying about last year's offense. Where's the big hit? The runner's left in scoring position. Like, what's going on here? Struggles are going to happen. That doesn't have to be a bad thing, especially when you feel like you've got some struggles, but you still find ways to win games. Because this team, they're overcoming adversity, and I like that because now when they're in adversity, whether it's in Fayetteville, Arkansas, or Tuscaloosa, Alabama, or home against Tennessee, or in Women's College World Series, this team has the confidence that they're going to find a way to win a game. Even if they're not playing well, they're going to find a way to come up with the big hits, come up with the big play. This team's got confidence now. They've been in a few close games, extra inning games, that they're going to find a way to win. So I'm choosing to go with the glass half full take. The offense has got to be better. It's going to be the biggest storyline going into this weekend moving forward, for sure. But we've seen national championship teams not be perfect every single game. That's okay. This team has got time. And again, like, we didn't think that it was all going to be perfect from the first pitch of the season to the last pitch of the season. We knew there'd be some growth. We knew that there'd be some troubles. And there will continue to be. There will continue to be. Like, the start of SEC play may be tough on this team. Maybe not, but maybe it is. It's all about how well they're playing when it matters most at the end of the year. And like the comment that I read earlier today, I hope today is a day where learning was done. Lessons were learned, and they'll be better for it moving forward. And Sid Sanders is going to have her best year in an OU uniform. And Cassidy Pickering is about to get hot and be an all-SEC, all-American player this year. So I'd rather learn these lessons after a win than I would after a loss. But all in all today, you take the 2 wins and move on. You got a week of practice before you return on Friday. Get your legs back a little bit. And let's see this team really have a great weekend before we get to SEC play. CJ says we have 5 or 6 rookies in the starting lineup on any given day, so of course there'll be a learning curve. So to face adversity like we did a couple of weeks back and winning extras was a good thing. Totally agree. And today coming in so-so or maybe not taking them serious, whatever the reason, they figured out in the end, Patty will get them in order. And that last sentence right there, CJ, that's it. Do we not have confidence that they're going to figure it out, that she's going to figure it out, that coaching staff will figure it out? Do we not have confidence in that? Because here's 2 things that I'm still very sure of. 1, this team has a ton of talent, an incredible amount of talent. 2, I know they got the GOAT, and I know that they got the best overall coaching staff. So Patty even said it before the year. She's excited to roll up her sleeves and kind of get to work. Well, here you go. All of that, when Patty was saying that before the year, these are situations like that. She'll roll up her sleeves a little bit this week at practice and get to work. She's looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to what it looks like this weekend. So this has been therapeutic for me, talking to you guys. Forget what you guys feel. I feel better about today, just talking about it out loud with you guys. AW, your comment about Sam settling the team was so correct. Success breeds success. Yeah, I mean, just the confidence, man. I know, we know, when Sam Landry is in the circle, we good. we good. Like, she's going to dominate someone. She's going to carve teams up. Like, we good when Sam Lander's in the circle. Isabella Smith is in the circle. Kirsten Deal is, her best version of herself. The pitching is the strength. And that could be another glass half full take is I keep saying that I think that the offense will be better. That the offense is going to come around, it's going to be better. Now, where does that come from? Is that just some guy that roots for OU softball saying that and being a homer? I don't know, maybe. I tend to think, though, it's more that there are so many players in this order where I've got a history, a full season, at least, in some cases more, of these offensive players producing at a high level. I mean, let's just go down the list. I've got proof that Abby Dayton can hit at a high level. She did it last year at Utah. I've got proof that Ilana Agbayani is an elite hitter. She was top 5 in the Big 12 in batting average last year. I sure have credit about Ella Parker and Cassidy Pickering about how well they could hit. We saw that last year. Isabella Emmerling had an awesome year at North Carolina. Who are some other? Sid Sanders, right? I mean, she's come up clutch in a couple of championship series, and we know what it's like when Sid's really producing. I mean, that's an easy 6 names. 6 names that I can rattle off that's not opinion-based. That's numbers-based, based on what they've done. So the offense is going to come around because it's my opinion, but also because I've seen it before on a regular basis and I know what's going to happen. And I still think Nelly has enough talent where that's going to happen. I think Nelly's going to hit. I know she's had a bit of a slower start than I hoped or we all hoped or she even hoped. But Nelly's got enough natural talent where I think it's going to come around. You've seen Gabby Garcia hit well. You've seen Sydney Barker hit well. This offense is going to be okay, and I've got a lot of proof. The point is, a lot of proof that a lot of these players. So here's another glass half full take. You've got proof that the offense is going to be okay, and your biggest question mark is now your biggest strength? Look at it that way. Look at it the way that, what you thought was the biggest question mark is now like, dang, is this the best pitching staff in all the country this year? I don't know if it is, but you can argue right now that OU's pitching staff is the best and certainly one of the best in all of college softball. Another few more days for Core to heal up. Yeah, I hope she gets back. Big fan of Hannah Core. You guys are as well. Hope Sid Barker stays hot. Me too. Me too. Like her a lot. Really good player. Really, really good player. And Sid Barker made me think of this stat. I had this written down. Did you guys know? This is a pretty incredible stat. There have been 14 games played by this team. OU has hit 4 grand slams already this year. 4 grand slams. Maybe that shouldn't have caught me by surprise, but it did. 4 grand slams, all by 4 different players. Pickering, Sid Sanders, Barker, and Garcia. 2 of those are freshmen. That is amazing. Let's continue that trend, right? Of as many grand slams as they've hit. By the way, let's rerun. Some of you caught the ad break in there, sorry, but here was Sid Sanders' grand slam today. Fun day. Happy for Sid. She's caught some flack, but she's having a really good year and doing everything that she needs to have her best season thus far. Really, really happy for her. Jessica Bain. Nobody has better stats than you know who did know that OU had 4 grand slams? Jessica Bain. She's got all the stats. Pinch hitters coming into today are 0-16 according to the SEC stat sheet. Really? That ain't great. I remember Gabby Garcia coming in a pinch hit spot. Maya Bland come in a pinch hit spot as well. Yeah, that could be better. Certainly here moving forward. But OU wins it over Bowling Green 8-5. Sam Landry gets the win. OU over Abilene Christian 9-1. And we didn't talk much about that game because I think the main story today was the extra inning walk-off win over Bowling Green. But they did get behind 1-0 against Abilene Christian. I'm like, really? I thought it'd be one of those things where OU ends up winning and ends up beating Bowling Green in extras, and then they just hammer Abilene Christian. Like, poor Abilene Christian just got put in a terrible spot. They come the game after that OU didn't necessarily play their best softball. And it ended up being a 5-inning run rule. I was very surprised that Abilene Christian got a run in the top of the first. All that to say, give this team credit. Didn't start off the best against Abilene Christian in game 2. Did what they needed to do, piled on runs, and got the 9-1 win to send it to a 5-inning run rule. So overall, I'm not going to sit here and, I'm not going to hammer this team and say that they're not any good. They are good, guys. They are good. They're still very good. They're still 14-0. I know the strength of the schedule hasn't been great up to this point, but they're going to face better teams. And I tend to think once they face better teams that they're going to rise to the occasion. And I think this weekend, that they're going to rise to the occasion this weekend and play a lot better. In a lot of ways, my early week feel is kind of what I felt like going into the Getterman Classic in Waco. I thought, they went 6-0 in California, but everyone's saying, and myself included, it can be a lot better. I bet they go out to Waco, and I bet that they put on a show. And I kind of feel that way about this weekend. I feel after kind of regrouping in a week of practice, you're going to see another really good version of this team. And I hope that happens. Cassidy Pickering, MVP of the week. But Sid Sanders was awesome as well. Sam Landry, she just continues to dominate the circle. And, man, what a get that was from Louisiana. Not as celebrated as Nigeri Kennedy in the transfer portal, but Sam Landry's is good that's out there in the sport right now. And don't forget Isabella Smith, who has a 0 ERA right now. David says, is Texas still number 1? They are. OU's number 2. Polls came out today. You know what? Fine. That's okay. You know what? Let this team. I don't think that they could handle being number 1. Whatever. Let them be number 2. Let them be number 5. I just want to see this team get better from game to game and focus on that. If they're number 1, so be it. This program's used to be a number 1. They've handled it before. But if they're number 2, that's fine. Because guess what? You'll play Texas this year at Love's Field. And I wouldn't mind at all if Texas is the number 1 team in the country coming into Love's Field. Bring it on. Just like people were picking Texas to win the national championship last year, just like Texas was the number 1 overall seed last year in the postseason, all of that. Like, good. Let Texas come to town being the number 1 team in the country. Let that dork Mike White get his fill of the Oklahoma Sooners once again. I hope Oklahoma's 2, Texas 1. We got a 1 versus 2 showdown at the end of the year. Let them be number 1. It's fine. Just focused on this team right now, and if they're getting better, game in and game out for sure. Okay, let me get a couple more comments, and I'll get out of here. Bottom line is you're not going to win every game by run rule. It's been a great, fun surprise. They have won a bunch. Yeah, they have. Fantastic point as always, CJ. You're always right on the money, man. It's okay if you play 7 innings, I think we could be a little bit spoiled at times. 7-inning games don't always have to be bad. Robert says too many mistakes in situational hitting and awareness, not controlling their at-bats. No intensity. Boy, does this team miss Riley Boom. I'd love to have Riley Boom back on this team, but situational hitting can be a lot better, for sure. It's one of the things that needs to improve the most, situational hitting. But like I just said, I've got a lot of evidence and a lot of proof that the majority of these hitters in the starting lineup have not only hit, but hit at a high level before. So I'll continue to trust in that. But you're right, Robert. Brennan, what's up? All the previous 4 seasons that all ended pretty good. All started off with things they need to work on. Once the conference year gets going, Patty will have their team ready when it matters. Thank you, Brandon. Nailed it. Patty Gasso is going to get this team where will they win a national championship? I don't know. I mean, there's some luck. There's a lot of things that go into winning a national championship. But will this team be the best version of itself at the end of the year? That's what's happened for a lot of years now with a lot of different teams. And I have no reason to think Patty Gasso won't do that again this year. I think they'll be okay. Adversity is a good thing for the learning curve and how they face it. Now you guys are really putting me in a good mood. This is therapeutic for me. Yes, CJ. We are definitely spoiled. 4 straight years of spoiled now, in fact. Yeah, that's probably true. But it's fun to be spoiled. This program's awesome. Teresa, CJ, agree. Really, this team has only been working together 6 months. A top team national, not bad. All great points tonight. I feel happier. I hope you feel happier as well. You know how I'm going to end this thing tonight? Let's see that Cassidy Pickering walk-off 3-run home run just one more time. Let's go. I love watching that video. I might watch it like 5 more times before I go to bed tonight. Preview videos coming out this week. I got content galore coming out, getting you ready for another tournament. Norman, appreciate you guys. I want to say that because I can't say it enough. You guys are in the chat. You guys are always liking the videos, commenting. Like, thank you. We all love the same thing here. We love OU softball, so that's cool. But I just want to tell you thank you that you show up for every single video, like, subscribe, all that. You guys are awesome. I love each and every one of you. Let's keep it rolling. 14-0. Talk to you soon.